Hello everyone. We are knowing about circulatory system in our body. Circulatory system in our body is made up of with a network of vessels. To flow blood in this vessel, they need a force. So in this video, we are going to know about blood pressure. To move the blood in the blood vessels, they required a force. The force is provided by the heart and it is highest when the ventricle contract. Ventricle contract and they force the blood out of the heart and into the arteries. Then there is a drop in the pressure as the ventricle refill with blood for the next beat. It can be understood by simple example. We observe in our home or in agriculture field. We attach a tube to the pump set. Then the water flows with high speed through the tube. In same way, heart pumps the blood into aorta with high pressure. Blood flows with a pressure in blood vessels that is known as blood pressure. Arteries receive blood from heart, then they have more blood pressure, and arteries are divided into branches and supplies this blood to the tissues, and when blood reaches to the capillaries, the pressure decreases. As blood collected by veins, the pressure is very low. Arteries have more pressure than the veins. Doctors measure the blood pressure with a device called sphygmo manometer. Normal blood pressure is 120 by 80. Blood pressure is varies throughout our body. A standard place must be used to measure the blood pressure of a person, and the blood pressure is may not same at different times. So blood pressure can be compared over a period of time. Always BP is measured in our upper arm artery, and there are two pressure readings. One measure the strongest pressure during the time blood is forced out of the ventricles. This is called systolic pressure. For a healthy persons, it will be 120 millimeter of mercury. The second reading is taken during the resting period as the ventricles refill with blood. This is called diastolic pressure. It will be equal to the 80 millimeter of mercury pressure. So 120 is known as systolic pressure, 80 is known as diastolic pressure. During the ventricle contract, blood is pumped into arteries. After the systole, the blood pressure in arteries increases. This is known as systolic pressure. Arteries walls are made up of with muscle tissue. They have a capacity of stretching. Whenever the blood with pressure enters into arteries, then the walls are stretched out to prevent the breakdown of vessel. During the diastole, heart did not pump the blood, so vessels come into rest state and the blood pressure come to the low, that is known as diastolic pressure. Blood pressure will change according to the activity in every person, such as resting, walking and running. Some people have high BP during the resting period. That is condition is known as hypertension or high blood pressure or high BP. Now we are going to know about hypertension or high blood pressure. And we know that during the systole, the blood pressure increases, but it is temporary. But in some persons, the blood pressure increases than the normal blood pressure 120 by 80. This condition here known as hypertension or high BP. For this condition, one reason is cholesterol fat. Cholesterol interrupts the flow of blood in arteries. Whenever cholesterol increases in blood, that stored in the walls of arteries. Due to this, the walls of arteries turned into thick and they lost the capacity of stretch. Due to this, the lumen decreases into small, and whenever the arteries receives the blood with high pressure, they can't control the blood pressure, and the pressure again increases on the artery walls, and the blood pressure is higher than the normal blood pressure. Reasons for hypertension or high blood pressure: long time stress and work, improper functioning of kidneys, drinking and smoking habits are causes for hypertension. If this condition is continuous for a long time without treatment, it can be causes to other diseases. In a long time, it may causes to the death also. Precautions: above 45 aged persons must check their blood pressure twice in an annum. Take healthy food and do regular exercises. Reduce stress and quit drinking and smoking habits. By taking these precautions, we can control the high blood pressure. Key points: blood flows in blood vessels with a pressure that is known as blood pressure. Blood pressure is measured by sphygmo manometer. Normal blood pressure is 120 by 80. Normal blood pressure has two parts. One is systolic pressure, second one is diastolic pressure. When heart contracts, the blood pumped into arteries, that is known as systolic pressure. When heart relaxes, that is known as diastolic pressure. Arteries have more blood pressure than veins.